Welcome to Nerds Talking, the YouTube, as we cover comic books and toys, and the YouTube channel covers mainly comic book related stuff. So we're here with Carlos because he's always on the show. I can't escape him. And
No way.
the way. And we're here with Scott. Um, he has a book. He's a comic book creator first. He's created his own IP called The Flock, and we know him through other book called Canada Bear and so forth. And we can get into that a little bit later. But Scott here is going to talk about his project, his Kickstarter, how he came up with the character, and so forth. And we'll let him introduce himself. So, Scott, tell us who you are.
Awesome. Thank you for having me on. I'm Scott. My IP is called, excuse me, The Flock. And that was really weird. Anyway, my comic was, like you mentioned, it's a book that happens like a prequel to another book that you guys worked with Paul Ferris and my brother Sean Wilson. And The Flock is kind of my own thing. Excuse me, one second. Weird. Went down the wrong pipe. Sorry. But anyway, yeah, my book's called The Flock. It's about main character's called the Goose Man. It's kind of like a really vintage feel kind of book. I wanted to go with something more of the golden age, silver age of comic books. And when I created the character and the stories, a lot of the stories happen, it'll be short arcs, but a lot of it's going to be like one story, one book type of deal, kind of like how comics originally were way back when, when books first started coming out. So, and also it's an all ages book. So I wanted to create a comic that not only I can read, but my nephew, someone's kids can read, like a dad and daughter, dad and son, and so on, to have it available for everybody. And then probably down the line, I'll do like a spin-off of different characters to make it more adult themed. Maybe like one of my characters, his name is Jackie Oaks, which we'll go into detail soon. He's kind of like a muscular lumberjack type of character. So maybe we'll do a spin-off of that type of, era, kind of like a Logan feel to it. So, but yeah, I'm excited to be on. This is great. Thank you.
That's the Flock. The Flock is kind of explain. First of all, the character people should know he's not called the Flock. So explain like the lead characters in the book, and how they more or less how they come to be the lead characters.
So the main character is called Huck Bennett, and he has a superhero persona as the Goose Man. And he started out this all out after he came back from World War II. His city had an uproar of crime, and he just went into, taking care of business because he saw that the police weren't doing anything. And he, as he's taking care of business, his nephew finds out that he is the Goose Man, and he becomes the Gosling, which is basically kind of like Batman's Robin. He's kind of his ward. He's his backup on his six. And then as he's progressing and fighting more crime, he's starting to fight a lot more stronger groups and more organized groups. So he calls his war buddy Jackie Oaks to kind of like give him some backup, like, hey, I need some muscle, I need another guy to fight these guys and get rid of them. And so the Flock is kind of, when it started off, is just the Goose Man and Gosling, but as the series progresses, the Flock gets bigger and bigger. So it's more characters get introduced, more heroes, more villains. So the Flock just gets bigger and bigger. That's why I kind of named it that, so you can bring in more characters, and it's more of a like a flock of geese.
So, does Jackie get a nickname, or is he just Jackie?
He's just Jackie Oaks.
Okay. Because he seems like a too cool guy. Like, yeah, I'm here to help you. I can.
Yeah, he's his mixture of his character design when I came up with him was kind of like Logan, but more I would say a little bit friendlier Logan in a way. Like he helps, people that are in need, but at the same time, he's like, I really don't need to do that right now.
Right.
And he's not the buff guy.
Is he the lumberjack looking
Yeah.
fella
Yeah.
Yeah.
with the buffalo.
Yes. So he is the story for his character is he's a very distant relative to Paul Bunyan. So he's got an ox, everything you need to be a relative of that family.
Well, I mean, now just real quick, where can people get issue 1? Because I don't want to talk about it just yet. Just let them know where they can get it. Then there's a
So you
couple
can get
things.
issue 1 for free at the Global Comics website. Here, I'll share the screen really quick. Let's see if I can bring that up. Here, so and on this website, it's globalcomics.com/theflock. If you search in here, the flock, boom, you find it. I'll send you the link after this, the recording, so you can put it in the YouTube link for people. But
Absolutely.
yeah, it's on here. You can view it on here. There's also, if you go to, let me see if I can bring that up as well. My Gumroad store. I have it on there as well. If you want to download it that way, it's up to people. The way that you do it on the Gumroad is that it would be for what's it called? It would be for you can actually download the copy, and that one's really easy. It's Comics by Scott, and I'll show that one up here. So this one, you can actually see I have issue 1 digital. It's free to download.
Okay.
And then on here, these are the last remaining copies that I have of Black and White that are issue 1 and 2 that I was selling locally in Cleveland, Ohio area.
Okay, cool.
So I'll share you those links at the end of the stream.
And is the book, you want to go with ongoing, or do you have like an ending for the book that ties into whatever's next?
So it's kind of at this point a 7-book series, and it's probably going to go along with Canada Bear at some point. Like we're gonna do a crossover with the characters and do like a actual event for that. But at this time, I'm running it as like each kind of like series is like 7 books. So the next set of books will come out. It'll be the same characters, but maybe 10, 15 years later, going on to different characters and so on and so forth. But at the moment, I have outlined 6 books. I have issues 1 through 4 inked, and I'll have probably 5, 6, 7. I'm hoping by the end of August, September is my goal, to have at least 7 books by the end of the year, give or take, time constraints and things that happen. But that's the goal.
Yeah, for sure. Yep.
Now you said this was a prequel. Is this a prequel to, I'm guessing, Canada Bear?
Yes, so it's the same city. They'll have some glimpses of the things that happen in the city that go on in Canada Bear series, but it's completely different time. Canada Bear's not even around. That entire story is doesn't have anything to do with what's going on, but it's the main thing that right now it's the same as the city at this point in the series. As the series progresses, we'll start giving Easter eggs what's going on in the flock that will go into that's already happening in Canada Bear that you're like, oh, there's a reference, and go back and forth until we actually have a book where they're together.
Now, why did you choose Canada as the country or the city the country that the city is in?
So I was originally going to do Cleveland, Ohio, and then do it as like a USA type of thing. But then I was thinking, if I'm going to make a character, my character is called the Goose Man. Where do geese come from? Everyone says Canadian geese, so I just go right with it. I'll just do Canada, and then it fit really well, being that also I didn't mention previously, this happens in the 50s, so it's like a huge time jump in the past, and so all the technologies they're old, so it's like nothing's 100% perfect. So it's really fun to have that type of era of storytelling, because you can really play with unique things, like kind of like Batman 66 type of feel, and have like the technology being really, really not up to par with something that happens in the 90s. So like And I just love that era because it's such you know, it's different. Everyone has cell phones today. No one had cell phones back then. Everyone had to make a phone call.
Right.
They actually made a phone call.
Well, now that you mentioned it's in the 50s, I kind of like the idea that maybe if the Goose Man has any gadgets, it's anything like, I don't know if you ever seen or heard of that show Get Smart.
Yeah, I've
Where
seen that show.
Yeah, so they have, I mean, it's set back in the day, and so the gadgets to them are like really cool gadgets, but if you were to use them now, they're really hokey, right?
Yeah, exactly.
I could totally see something like that going on.
So there's in issue 4, there's a this isn't really spoiler, but it's just like a little thing that goes on, is like he uses one of his gadgets and it doesn't work. So it's like, you know, that's 1957 technology.
Right.
So, yeah.
And give us some because the art in the book is pretty good. So who is the artist in your book, or like where did you get the artist?
So it was really funny. I had an artist last year. He started working on the book in January, and I was working with him for probably all the way up until, I want to say, at least April. And then he messaged me and said that he got a job working on another art, and because at the time we were working out a contract and how he would, because he was just making the character designs and he was just like spitting up ideas of what we'd want to do. And then I was drafting a contract with him, and then he ended up going with someone who was paying him a lot of money. So I'm like, hey, good on you. You get that money. I do not have that much money to counter contract at all. And then I sent a couple messages out to different Facebook groups and different art groups and comic groups. And then I had someone who reached out to me and told me that my artist who I currently work with, his name is Gino Casmianto, and he's from Indonesia. And he just finished working on this guy's book. And he's like, I told him I'd give him work. I'm done with him. I don't have anything for him at the moment. My book's completely done. Throw him something so he can, test out the waters with the character. And I did, and ever since then it kind of got better. Now the thing with Gino, since he lives in Indonesia, he reads English, but it's kind of a little bit harder for him. So what I have to do is when I'm describing things, I have to like put so much detail, more detail than the average reader for when it comes to like descriptions, so that he knows what's going on, because he has to use a translator sometimes, and if I put one word wrong, it's not going to make sense to him. But sometimes he astonishes me with some of the artwork, because I'll put in a description for a panel and a page, and the page that comes back, I'm like, okay, that's way better than what I even thought of. We're gonna go with that, because he does some great work. His line work is phenomenal. I just love the covers that he did, and also like just inside the book, it just looks great. The books are coming out quick too. He's very fast. He does a book a month, which is insane sometimes.
Well, which is good, because if you want to put out 7 of these, you're not stuck. It's keeping the pace of your pace. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And sometimes he outpaces me, and because I'll be writing, when I was writing issue 4, he was, he just finished issue 3, and he was like, okay, what's next? I'm like, okay, I guess here, make the cover while I'm writing 4, because he's like ready to go. And I love it because he's so eager, and he likes working on the book. And of course I pay him quite well. So he's like, I'm a paycheck, I'm, inflow of money. So he's going to work with someone,
Well, which is good. Have you written all 7, or what are you up to writing wise?
I have everything up to issue 5. I have 6 and 7 outlined of what I would like, more like sketched outline.
Yeah.
It's on paper, but once I put that into the computer, I'll just rearrange it and get things rolling. 6 and 7 is kind of like an arc type of book. It's like the last 2 of the series, of the running series, so it's going to be like kind of like a 2-part story, because issue 1 and 2 starts as a 2-parter, and then like 4, 5, and yeah, 4 and 5 and 3 are their own stories. So
And then you're gonna tie it into Canada Bear. I guess my question would be, since this takes place in the 50s and Canada Bear's modern times, you have a story that links them together somehow?
yes, so the second series after the series that I'm writing right now, it's going to be a time jump, but it's going to be kind of like a Batman Beyond-esque to it,
Got it.
where the Gosling is going to have he's going to be the he's not going to be the Goose Man. He's going to be, because it's going to happen in the 90s, so it'll be his like grandson will be kind of like going into the mantle type of deal.
Mhm.
And so yeah, and but it's going to be funny is when he first gets in the suit. The little story that I have is like he's going to be using old technology gadgets and it's not going to work very well, so he has to update the suit in some way to fit with the technology of the 90s and the villains of the future, I
Yeah,
guess.
he's gonna be using old gadgets and realizing they don't work, which is
Yeah.
actually pretty good, like going that route, Yeah, that's pretty cool. I mean, the art is really well done, and it reminds me a little bit of Rocketeer,
Mhm.
with the character. But I mean, the good thing is, like I said, you're doing basically one issue is a different, more or less, villain every time. Would you say?
Yes, so the issues 1 and 2 has, well, it's kind of like what I wanted to do, like each book have their own villain story and like kind of story going through. So issues 1 and 2 is Rise of the Purple Hood Gang, and the first book is the villain is the Purple Hood Gang group, and then the second one is basically their boss, their main guy who's running the gang, and then 3 is I have the villain called the Mountain Man who hates technology, and the book title is called The Flock Stampede Through Downtown, so he does a little damage there. And then the fourth book, it's a creature kind of mixes with like a human hornet monster type of creature, so it's kind of like a more like a horror version of the books, kind of like a one that would come out probably in October if I did it. And then 5 in issue 1 they mentions a character called the Yeti. So issue 5 is called The Return of the Yeti, I guess. The working title, but it's gonna have the Yeti in that one. And then 6 and 7 are still in the works of title wise, but those ones will be like kind of mixture of villains. I think I'm gonna probably do 2 villains in those two. So but yeah, I've tried to do a kind of like a old book style. Like when it comes to writing, I want the different villains in different books. I don't want the same villain. Batman's great with the Joker, but you gotta mix it up every once in a while. You gotta have
Gotta
more.
kill the Joker. I'm sick of that guy.
Yeah,
You
it's like
can't kill the Joker.
Man, you gotta kill the Joker.
Mm.
I got a working title for you for issue
Uh-oh.
5.
what's that?
Yeti or not?
Here I come.
Yeah,
Yeti
right.
or not? Yeah, it's
Yeti
not
or
bad.
not.
And have the Yeti on the cover as like,
Yeah.
have them just nuts. No, that's cool. I mean, like I said, the book sounds great. The fact that it crosses over with a current book that is already out there. I don't know what Canada Bear's up to. Issue 3 or 4?
So they've written quite a lot. They're currently on issue 3. They're just finishing up a campaign that they were originally working on, and they were working with I forget who the artist they originally had, but that artist,
Matt?
I think it might have been Matt. I don't remember. But he dropped out because he couldn't keep up with because of COVID. He had to take care of someone. So they got a new artist, so they're kind of like breaking negative on that campaign, mainly because they're trying to get it out and they had to change artists, and it kind of sucked. But at the same time, the new artist they have is actually Gino's I think it's his brother or a really close friend that he calls, because whenever he introduces him, he calls him his brother.
Okay.
But I don't know if it is his brother or not.
It's kind of like
but-
the Indonesian Snoop Dogg. He calls everybody his cousin.
Yeah.
Or my nephew. What is it? His nephew? Something like that.
Yeah. So he's working on Canada Bear for him. So
So let's take a look at the Flock issue 1. And why don't you tell us a little bit about the Kickstarter going on while we take a look at this right quick.
Yeah, so my Kickstarter, the sign up page is up, so I'll send you guys a link to it for the YouTube channel. But the Kickstarter is going to be launching February 24th, and it's going to go for 30 days. It's going to go from let's see, I think it's going to end, it'll end in March, and by the time Kickstarter ends, the books will be all colored and it'll be able to be shipped out ready to go come April. So my goal is to have everything out to backers by the end of April, and April 2021, this year. Not next year, not the year after, this year. And so I'll have several different perks available. The first perk is kind of like a introduction. It's like, what the flock is this? It's issue 1 plus they have whatever stretch goal extras that I come up with, and you get a poster. So it's like kind of like an introduction to the series. If it's for people that don't want to get too invested, they just want to back it just because they want to figure out what this is, and go from there. I'm gonna have a digital package, issues 1 through 3, PDF documents, kind of like what you're looking at right now, but in color.
Okay.
And then I have several variant covers. I got a cover by Mike Belcher, who does the comic The Man in the Mask, kind of like a The Spirit. So his book is very has the same time era as my book. So he was able to really create a cool design with like the cars and the buildings look very similar. So, and I also have several different covers from different artists who wanted to do variant covers. Those will be available. And then I have a first day Packers. It's called the Early Goose Gets the Worm, and it's for all people that come in on the first day. You get flock 1, 2, and 3 standard covers, plus a poster and whatever extras I come up with. Like I said, I'm still working on that part. But you get everything for $20. No variants, just the standard edition. And then once that the February 25th comes around, it'll go back to the Gooseman package, which is the same thing, but it's gonna be for $25. The other one will be $20 plus shipping. So yeah. And then the very last biggest package I have at the moment is called the Jackie Oaks package, and it's everything I have offered. So that'll be the biggest one I have right now until I start. I'm researching different like either merch idea stickers, the Chotskis is what some people call them, stuff to add to the campaign for, stretch goals and added bonuses for people that back the book. So yeah, really fun. I can't wait to get it started. I have the page pretty much done. I can show you here right in a second. Let's see. Yeah, so this is the front part of the book. And so, yeah, I have it pretty much all ready to go. I'm just waiting for February 24th. And it's funny, the reason I picked that date is just because it's a lucky date in my family. So I just went with it.
All right.
So
is that Gino's covers? Are those all Gino's covers?
Yeah, so this is Gino's issue 1 or issue 2. This is his cover. And then this is issue 3. I really like this one a lot. It came out pretty good. Colors are by Paul. Paul did the colors.
Okay.
And Paul did the colors here too. This is just kind of like he did his version of issue 1 cover. So he kind of did like his rendition of it. And then this is the Belcher cover I was telling you about. His covers got the same kind of era as my series, so he was able to make like this background like in 2. It's funny when I approached him about it. I've never had someone like he sent this the day after. I was like, Jesus, like when did you start doing this? Because I messaged him 8:00 at night, and then the next day he I guess he woke up early in the morning and he was like, I was bored and I needed something to do, so he just did this.
There you go.
Jeez. And this cover is done by another YouTube channel called Ichthus, and he's got his own book as well. And I was like, hey, you want to do a cover and get your name out there? And he's like, Hell yeah. It's like, boom, there you go. So he did a cover as well. I like working with him because he likes to do shows kind of like you guys, but he wants to, get his artwork out there, get his, name out there. It's like, just do a cover. We'll see what happens.
Right, right.
Maybe you'll get hired. You never know. And then this one is one of my favorites. It's done by I think I'm going to butcher his name, Joel Souza. And it just looks, to me, it looks like Darwin Cook and Bruce Timm feel to it. It's really, it's that
big
kind
Absolutely.
of, I love it. I love it so much.
That's a great cover.
Yeah, I love his artwork is phenomenal. I love that how like he gave it like this part. I don't know the shading. I don't know what that's called, but it looks so
Just
good.
the motion blur.
Yeah, the motion blur.
Yeah,
blur.
looks good.
Yeah. And then I have a crossover cover that's getting finished. It's with another creator called Nicholas Raven. He does a book called Demon Hunter Raven. And then it's with also Niobe Birthright, which is done by Larry Higgins. And it's going to be a kind of a crossover. We're going to have it on each of our campaigns. So like you can get the cover with my book, cover with both their books as well. So it's kind of like a added bonus to the series. Is kind of like cross merchandising, get people to get excited for both their books. So yeah, that's the campaign so far. Very simple package. I'm not going too extravagant. I might do a t-shirts for another campaign, but this one is my first Kickstarter, so I want to keep it as basic as possible because I want to fulfill it.
Well, the good thing
Right.
is, unlike other Kickstarters, your books will be done. You know what I mean?
Oh,
By
yeah.
the time they order, they're done. Like
Yeah.
there's so many Kickstarters out there. The people haven't even drawn a page.
Yeah.
Like, hey, let me raise $100,000, and then it's gonna come out in 2 years. You're like really, man? Yep, you got all this money from us, and you're gonna take 2 years to put this out? Like,
Well, at least, yeah. For me, I did a Indiegogo last November. It did not go very well. I think it's because I wasn't marketing it right. So I kind of like changed my approach. I kind of networked with a lot more people to get things rolling with the, talking and hype up and everything. I didn't do it right for the Indiegogo. Indiegogo, I didn't even think I got like 10% of what my goal was. But this time around, I'm really pushing it. Issue 1 was out there for free. I'm talking with streams, talking with YouTube shows, talking with you guys, trying to get more people's eyes on the book, retweeting, posting stuff. I'm doing more work than I did last time. So I'm hopefully this is going to be a successful campaign. I'm really pushing it. So we'll see what happens.
No, definitely, that's the way to go. You got to push this. You got to use, all your media to your advantage, like social media for sure.
Yeah.
yeah, no, that's cool. I guess the next thing would be, I mean, you got all the books lined up for 7. You got the crossover. You pretty much got it all laid out, and the Kickstarter is already set for people. Like I said, they're gonna get their books. It's not gonna be something where they just promised books and they don't see them for. They're more like a surprise in the mail. Oh, this finally showed up. Because I've got that a couple of times. Oh man, I totally forgot about this. Finally showed up, and that's cool. And then I know you talked to me about doing a little 7-page story for an add-on.
Yeah. So
that Carlos and myself will work on.
I'm actually finishing that up. I have it on paper, so I got to type it up. But yeah, it's going to be kind of it's kind of like I would say the end of some. Well, I think it's going to be at the end of issue 3, and it's going to be an introduction to the Yeti story. So it's kind of like a preview of what's going on with that, and then goes into the issue 5. So that's gonna be really fun. I might make that one that title that you came up with, Carlos. That little
Right, Yeti or not.
So, but yeah,
we'll have fun with that one for sure. And then also working on a bonus digital story for you guys. And I just kind of whipped up myself of the Flock. This is more like, I was telling Scott, this is more like the Flock 2077.
Yeah, it sounds
You
cool.
know, a lot of action, a lot more adult. Adult just means a lot more blood, and but it's gonna be cool. It's gonna be fun. It's gonna be a digital story for you guys out there. And you know, because we worked on Canada Bear. Carlos, I think, drew issue 1. I'm not sure. Did you draw issue 1?
No, I inked
You
it. I was the
inked
inker.
issue 1.
Yeah.
And then issue 2, I helped draw issue 2. I did draw issue 3. I actually drew all of issue 4, but I never saw the light of day. So, but that's okay, because now we just move on to another project, and we'll be doing, you know, some stuff with the flock, which should be fun. And Carlos does do colors, so he'll handle that part of it. And like I said, it's gonna be. Is your artist? Does he do everything digitally?
So I asked this question many times, and he always gives me a different answer. But I think what he does is he does it hand drawn, and then he inks it digitally.
Okay, because I can tell by looking
That's
at
what
the
I do.
art. Yeah, when I look at the art, I can tell that he it must be finished in digital.
Yeah, because I can tell even in issue 1. So when I first started working with him, issue 1 was kind of like the playing around with how we want the book to look, mainly because it was his first time working on it, so I had to get out all the kinks in that first book, so when we do anything forward, we were able to like be on the same page. And so far it's been going pretty well. Issue 2, he kind of like blew it out of the park when it comes to designing the panels and everything, which was really, you know, great, because I was trying to make it easier for him to you know, do the panels, because for me as a writer, I'm not the greatest writer of a story, but I would say I'm more of a creator, because I manage everything pretty well. I manage the creation, you know, the pages and the printing, and you know, doing self-publishing, of course. But he does pretty great work. Even in the beginning pages, you can tell that some of it's in, I don't know what program he uses, but the panels, looks like he hand draws them and then scans it, and then when he inks it, he moves the panels around so that they're separate, I guess, and then he puts them back together in some way.
Yeah, you could do that basically with any clip art studio. You could do that. I mean, clip paint studio. You could do that with, I mean, Photoshop. I mean, the way I do it is, besides, I lay out 5 pages on one little page digitally.
Okay.
But it's the same thing. I'll draw this over here, drag it, put it in the box, so on and so forth. And I could tell, because the reason I could tell he's doing digital is mainly because his shadowing, you can tell that some of it is done with paint brushes and tools. It's not like him doing stroke by stroke by stroke, which is how it's done. That's, you know, nowadays, you know, digital art is like a cheat tool. You know,
Yeah,
you can make your stuff look much cooler now by just using cheat tools provided to you by the actual programs. But the art's really good in the book, and it, like you said, it fits it really well. All the little things like Goose's little CB radio or whatever, you know, the way the city looks and the old trucks and cars. I mean, he definitely captures the 50s, definitely.
yeah.
So yeah.
He's really good with using references, and
yeah, you have to. Yeah.
And when he actually, when he started working on it, he goes, "What year is this?" I go, "It's the 50s." I was like, "Oh, 50s. I thought you said, you know, 60s." So he's going back and like changing all his references,
like
and
retweaking things. He's erasing all the weed.
Yeah.
All the hippies in the background is like, this doesn't fit anymore. Like, okay, I'll change this. Oh, that's cool. Everybody now is just wearing Letterman jackets and high water jeans.
Exactly.
Or I should say cuffed jeans. Yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. Yeah. But Carlos has some stuff. So this is a little preview of the other book you're talking about, Canada Bear. This is from issue 4 that we completed. What do you got? Do you have the cover there to share? What do you got? Because Carlos colored the cover, and so here's a page of Canada Bear issue 4 that we did.
This is the cover here.
That's the cover there. Yeah, that's the cover there.
I've actually not seen this.
Well, you haven't seen any of issue 4 that we did.
No.
Yeah, we completed the whole thing,
Oh.
and we. I'm assuming you only have a couple of pages on your computer. I think I have everything on mine. But we did issue 4, and like I said, but it was very. I mean, to be honest, it was a different tone.
Yeah.
It was much more, as you can see there. We went for the more action packed, burly bear that can kick your ass. I mean, he's missing teeth at some point, and he's bleeding, and he's got his ass beat, and
kind of like an action cartoon feel to it, kind of like nonstop movement.
Well, I mean, it goes by the script that was given to us, but it's still, the idea was to keep it moving, like nonstop, exactly. Like, you're excited to go from panel to panel, like, oh, look at that, look at this. So and so what you see there is what you'll see in the 7-page, little story you're gonna get out of us when it comes to the Flock. Like I said, it's gonna be a lot of fun. It's gonna be cool. So, but that's pretty much it. I mean, I would wrap this up with just any additional information you want to give to the people out there, so they can join you on your journey to get the book out and about, and where to find it and so forth.
So first things first, if you guys want to reach out to me or message me or tweet at me, my Twitter page is The Flock Comic, at The Flock Comic. Very simple. My DMs are open. If you guys are interested to ask any questions about the Kickstarter, any artists that want to work out, like do something like a cover or poster. I also post on my Twitter different characters. So if a colorist would like to do any coloring work and just have fun with the characters that I post, do your thing. And then I'll share it on Twitter to something pretty cool. But I have my Kickstarter is going to launch February 24th. The sign up page is on my Twitter, and I'll also send you guys a link to it as well for your YouTube show. And yeah, I'm ready. I'm so ready to get this campaign started. I've been working on it for 2 months, so I'm just ready to get this book out there. Issues 1 through 3 are completed inks. Colors are getting done by Paul. I'm trying to whip on him to get it done. And I'll have it all ready to go as the campaign ends, and I'll send it to print as soon as the campaign is completed. And it'll only be running for 30 days. So after the 30 days, you won't be able to back these 3 books until I run another campaign, maybe later in the year, for people that missed out on the opportunity as reprints. But yeah, I'm ready to go. And issue 1 is free on globalcomics.com if you want to check that out as well. It's all in black and white. It's kind of an introduction to the series of what's going on and some of the characters, so you guys can get a preview before you go into backing the campaign.
And we'll have all these links below in the description, so you guys can check that out quickly just by clicking on the link. Now, just real quick, Scott, I know 2020 wasn't the easiest year, and 2021 we don't know what's coming, but are you anticipating or wanting to do a comic convention tour?
I'm thinking about it. I know a lot of people have been doing like virtual versions, like you doing like some Facebook groups do different, invite people on for like a time slot. I would love to do cons if they open, but I feel we probably won't have like a real con like it used to be for another 2 years. All the cons are going to be very different. It'd be really hard, probably the space as well. Getting into cons is probably going to be very hard to do. Probably be a lot more expensive for the amount of people that they're allowed in a different zone. But I would love to. I would love to actually also get the colored version out to comic book stores if they are in the area, but also reaching out to places outside if they saw this campaign and they would like to sell the book as well. I would love to work with some people like that just to get the book out. I don't have distribution at the moment. Hopefully, the goal is to have some type of distribution network at the end of the year so that people can enjoy it everywhere. That's if campaign succeeds and I'm fulfilling and no issues. This year is the year of no issues.
Right.
No issues this year.
Yeah, no, that's great. So there's the Flock, and you guys should definitely check it out. Check out the links below in the description, and definitely share this with your friends that enjoy comic books, especially the Golden Age type of comic books, because it has that feel to it. Like Scott said, it has the feel of '60s Batman, which is always fun. At least I think they're fun. So definitely check it out. Check out the Flock. Follow the links. Subscribe to our channel here on YouTube to keep you updated on all comic books and so forth as we review comics and art and just have a lot of fun here. So subscribe to Nerds Talking, the YouTube channel, and share this with your friends. Share with your mom, your grandmother, anybody else that knows what the internet is. Thanks for tuning in to Nerds Talking, the YouTube channel.
Thanks, Scott.
Awesome. Thank you guys. I appreciate it.